Greece is in crisis. People are on the streets starving. Banks are stripped of their cash with ATMs with nothing to give. How are we going to solve the crisis? Today, I have come to the European Central Bank to interview two very special guests, and we shall perhaps uncover a little bit of information and understanding on where fiscal austerity measures and stakes its claims as a way of fixing the current crisis in Europe and Greece in particular. Come with me as I take you on this exciting adventure into the ECB. With a youth unemployment rate of 42%, a government deficit that can be attributed to 180% of the Greek GDP, and with that equating to over 300 billion euros in debt, Greece is on the brink of financial peril. So today, here at the European Central Bank, we will see two members of Greece and Germany's respective finance ministries debating the terms of their austerity strategies and whether they wish to implement it as a measure of fixing the current financial situation in Greece. So I'm just minutes away from my first interview with my first guest. Let's see how we go. Mr. Varoufakis, it's a pleasure.
Nice to meet you, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm ready to go.
How's the country?
Bad, very bad, very bad. We will talk about it later.
Mr. Varoufakis, welcome to the show. First of all, could you please explain a little bit to us about your background?
So, I was born in Greece in the 1960s. My mom was a university professor, and my father was a communist revolutionary that was in jail. And so I decided that I wanted to help my people to develop. I started teaching in England, but when Margaret Thatcher won the elections, I came to Australia just because I didn't understand how the people could vote for such a bitch. And after that, when I saw that my country was bad, I decided to join Syriza.
And why did you join the Syriza party?
So I joined the Syriza party 3 years ago because in the end, from a macroeconomic perspective, Greece is losing and losing and losing again because the European Union was not designed to help the countries in the south. We are industrially less effective than the countries in the north, and our economies can't hold the pressure of the euro and the European Central Bank. And I wanted to take back the control of our economy and make the European Union better for all.
My last question to you then is, what would you actually propose to the European Union by way of fixing the financial crisis in Greece?
So I'm here to stop the program of austerity that Germany is imposing over southern European countries, and I'm going to propose a program for growth and investment and people-oriented that is going to make the European Union better for all. And the first thing that we're going to do is the case-by-case bank program, which is going to basically solve the problem of debt in southern European countries. We are also going to make a debt conversion program, an investment recovery and convergence program, and also a solidarity program.
Okay, and specifically, what is your opinion on fiscal austerity?
So, fiscal austerity basically puts Germany in control of all the countries in the south that don't have the same economic abilities that Germany has, and it doesn't create growth. The worst thing about this is that Greece and Spain and Italy need growth. They need investment. They don't need to stop. They don't need fiscal austerity to put their balances on. The balances can be saved. We can all win for this.
Mr. Varoufakis, thank you for your time.
Thanks to you, Mr.
So I've been told Mr. Schäuble is ready now for our second interview, Mr. Wolfgang Schäuble. It's going to be very interesting to take his opinions on the current situation, so let's go see what he has to say. Mr. Wolfgang Schäuble, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Danke.
Could you please give us a little bit of a background of your particular story in Germany?
Yeah, I was for 8 years the German Federal Minister of Finance under Angela Merkel. I come from the same party, from the Christian Democratic Union. And, well, in 1990, there was an assassination attempt against me, which is why I'm now bound to this wheelchair. But hey, I'm still alive.
So, if I may ask, what is your view on the current economic situation with a particular focus on the Greek economy?
Yes, so the financial crisis hit all the European countries and many, many other countries very hard. The southern European countries were hit especially hard because of their weak security net. They had high spending, low tax incomes, so they were running a deficit, and they accumulated massive debt over the years, which in the past was easy to ignore when the economy is going well. But now, due to the financial crash, this problem is now unavoidable. Greece is now faced with a large debt, and we are looking into bailout programs, for which the Greeks and my colleague, Mr. Varoufakis, does not want to accept the terms that we had initially agreed upon. Thereby, this situation is spiraling out of control and becoming more and more difficult.
Specifically on fiscal austerity, where do you see the need to implement such measures within the situation as it is?
So, fiscal austerity is the raising of taxes and the decreasing of government spending. This specific model is required to basically cut this frivolous spending by the government and bring in more money into the Greek household by increasing taxes. Clearly, this is not popular amongst the Greek voters. I can understand that, but it has to be done. Why is this better than borrowing money and investing this again? Because this investment of money is what got the Greeks in this situation at first. Just spending more money would not help them. Furthermore, there's the large problem of the so-called run to the banks, whereby Greeks are already now standing in lines in front of the banks and taking out all the money they can. The banks are running out of cash. And there's no reason why, if we actually lend the Greeks more money, why the population wouldn't just take this money out of the bank and put it under the mattress as well. As you can see, it's a tough situation, and these tough measures are the only way of getting out of this situation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So I don't know you, Mr. German Finance Minister, but the economic system of Greece is based upon the public sector as well. And as we cut down on budget in education, in hospitals, in healthcare, we are prohibiting and we are preventing the Greek people from prospering, and especially the youth. The youth of Greece is coming out of the country because they can't find a job, and austerity is not the response to the problems of my country.
Must I remind you that you caused the problems of your country? You and your irresponsible spending of money, running up a deficit, creating a crazy debt, led to this dire situation. And now, of course, it is expected that we, the Germans, and the other members of the European Economic Union, bail you out. Up till now, we have already pumped in 104 billion euros, of which Germany has covered 27%. And now you just expect that we can't make any terms of how you run the economy after we give you a bunch of money to cover your debt?
We can give you back the money later, but now we need something. We need investment. We need something to make an economy back. And austerity is not going to do that. And I tell you something more, Mr. Finance Minister. You, with your policies of austerity, which are autocratic and totalitarian in all the sense, because the Greek people hasn't voted for that, are going to provoke a rise of Eurosceptic forces in our countries. And nobody wants that. And if the Greek people become Eurosceptic, and if the Greek economy fails, the German economy will fail. So,
but how can we trust your government to be responsible?
With investment.
But they say something. The figures Mr. Varoufakis are stating are true. However, they are taken out of proportion. The reason we need to cut these government expenditures so drastically is that in the past they have been overinflated extremely. They are throwing away money to anything and everything. We will never invest into that. We will not give them money. Fitch, back in 2015, gave you a triple C Do you think it is responsible of us to lend such an economy any money?
We are not going to win from an austerity program that is going to fix the accounts of your banks and fix the accounts of the European Central Bank, but it's not going to create growth and prosperity in the Southern European economies. It's not. People are dying in the streets of my country, Mr. Finance Minister. Dying.
Now you expect us to lend this kind of man money. You know that wouldn't end well.
As history would have it, Greece did agree to a set of EU terms regarding fiscal austerity, and despite this being largely unpopular with the Greek population, it has proven to be economically beneficial for the country. Since 2012, the Greek economy has shown slow signs of recovery, and at present in November 2017, the Greek government has been able to redistribute dividends back to its taxpayers and pensioners after having met its current bailout targets, run a primary budget surplus, and hit the austerity requirements set by the EU. All in all, it appears that fiscal austerity has been the saviour of the Greek economy.